In this video, we are going to be looking at a clip from the TV show My 600-Pound Life. And from that, we're going to be learning some really useful words and expressions. We're going to be going through it piece by piece and really exploring these different words and expressions and looking at them in context so that you can actually use them. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Now let's get into the video. Let's take a look at some phrases, words and phrases that we can learn from, well, any TV show, but in this case, My 600-Pound Life. We are going to go through this slowly, pause occasionally, pick out some useful phrases, and then talk about how they can be used naturally. All right? So let's take a look. If you haven't ever seen My 600-Pound Life, it's one of those shows that's kind of extremely entertaining. You can't stop watching it, but at the same time, kind of sad because, well, it's sad. People are addicted to food for whatever reason, and it seems to be very traumatic. So it's both entertaining and very sad at the same time, which is crazy. All right. Anyway, let's listen.
Is her messages? Okay. Now, I'm the receptionist at a doctor's office, and I'm only able to do that because I can sit most of the day. And when I get there, it's never too early for lunch.
All right. So let's stop there. It's never too early for lunch. In her case, that means she's very excited about lunchtime. She loves lunchtime. But what is that phrase, it's never too early? What does that mean? If you say it's never too early, that could be in regards to an addiction, right? It's never too early for a drink, someone who loves to drink. But it could also be in regards to anticipation for other things, right? And in this case, never too early in the day. It's often used like that, things that happen in the day, right? In the day. But you could do it early in terms of seasons as well, right? Yeah, I would say it's never too early to start thinking about your garden. Well, okay, February, is that too early? No, it's never too early. Well, what does that really mean when you say that? Does that mean you're addicted to gardening? In that case, no. It means that planning is good, and if you really enjoy gardening, then maybe you should start early, or maybe it's a good thing to start early. There's nothing wrong with starting early. Right? So actually what that's really saying is, I really enjoy doing that, right? So if there's something that's kind of time sensitive and you might want to do that earlier than some people would say is normal or good, and you want to say, it doesn't matter, maybe it's never too early is a great phrase to use. In her case, she loves lunch, so it's never too early for lunch. Is 7 a.m. too early for lunch? I would say so, but what do I know?
Lunch motivates me a lot, but I'm getting to where soon I won't even be able to go to work, and I just can't believe I let this happen. I know my weight's out of control.
I let this happen. Let's go back to that part and listen to it again. I can't believe I let this happen.
And I just can't believe I let this happen.
Hear that?
I know my weight's out of control now.
I can't believe I let this happen. So if you can't believe something, well, that means it's surprising to you. It shocks you. It terrifies you. You can't believe it. Sometimes we say, I can't believe it in a good way, bad way, either way. How did you let this happen? Usually this is when something bad happens and we didn't do anything to stop it from happening. So it could be, I let this happen and I'm disappointed in myself. I can't believe I let this happen. How could you let this happen when you want to blame someone? How could you have let this happen? You were responsible for maybe watching everyone's bags. One of them got stolen. You were supposed to be watching them while we all went into the shop. How could you have let this happen? So it's actually a really useful sentence. Again, often used to talk about when things go wrong, when things go badly, right? Again, I can't believe is an option there. Can be used or perhaps not. It's also used to talk about blame. How could you have let this happen? Okay. All right, let's keep going here.
And my body's getting to a breaking point. But
okay, listen
my
for
weight's
that
out of
breaking
control
point.
now. And my body's getting to a breaking point. But
My weight is out of control now, right?
and my body's getting to a breaking point.
And my body is getting to a breaking point.
And I just can't believe I let this happen. I know my weight's out of control now.
I know my weight is out of control now. If something is out of control, you can't control it. Okay, straightforward enough. I think we know that one, right? If your weight is out of control, that means you're eating too much. You can't control your diet. You're gaining weight.
My body's getting to a breaking point.
My body is getting to a breaking point. Well, what is a breaking point for your body? Well, it depends on what's happening. If you're a bodybuilder and you're pushing yourself too hard, and it could result in a heart attack or snapping a muscle or some horrible thing that could happen to a bodybuilder, then you're pushing yourself too far in that way, and you're reaching a breaking point. So you're getting close to a point where some irreversible damage is going to happen. Some damage that's so bad that it cannot be reversed. Now, in this case, she's not a bodybuilder. She is very obese. And so what is her breaking point? Well, her breaking point, again, she might have severe diabetes. She could have a stroke. She could have a heart attack. Things associated with being very, very overweight, right? But you can have all kinds of breaking points. You could have breaking points in relationships. We're getting to a breaking point in our marriage. Does that mean you're there? No, but you're very close. And what is that thing you're getting close to? Well, you're getting close to something really bad happening, right? And when that happens, it will be broken and it can't be reversed. Then it's just done. And that's bad, right? So a breaking point, and let me put that up actually. I forgot to put that up. A breaking point is this thing that cannot be reversed. Okay? And it's kind of like milestone, which we talked about in our news video. If you watch that one, milestone is a thing we want to get to. Breaking point, no, that's usually going down, sliding downward. Not a good thing. Not good.
But it is so hard for me to stop eating. If I did not have to keep a time clock, I would spend more time focused on food.
She has to keep a time clock, apparently, meaning that apparently she has to prevent herself from eating all the time with a timer. Okay.
Smells like it's about done.
Okay,
No,
so she looks like she's at home.
It wears on him. That scares
So
me.
she's at
Walk
home.
out. On time.
Hold on,
Smells
let me
like it's about done.
I'm going to check it.
Smells like it's about done. What's done? The food, the meal.
I think so. On top of that, I am afraid at my marriage.
We're not going to write that down, but on top of that is the same as saying additionally. It's less formal. It sounds more natural, right? On top of that,
Will fall apart because of my weight problem.
she
One
said
day
her
he-
marriage.
Because of my weight problem. On top of that, I am afraid that my marriage will fall apart because of my weight problem.
My marriage will fall apart because of my weight problem.
One day he can walk out.
It's done.
Perfect.
Okay, what do we got
And
here?
that's
Breadsticks. There's some breadsticks there. Looks like some garlic breadsticks, and that looks like some sort of baked cheesy pasta dish. Does not look very healthy.
scares me to death. Look like it came together pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I know he loves me more than anything in the world, but I know it wears on him.
Okay. It wears on him. But maybe we can say fall apart and wears on him, right? Let's review this part again here. There's a couple interesting things here.
One day he can walk out.
It's done.
Perfect. Because of my weight problem.
Wait, did we miss?
One day he can walk out.
Fall apart. Where's the fall apart?
On top of that, I am afraid my marriage will fall apart because of my weight problem.
Okay, so let's do fall apart first and then talk about something wearing on you. Okay, so what does it mean if something is falling apart? So if something falls apart, it's not the same as breaking point. Breaking point is the specific point where it goes wrong, right? And there's irreversible damage. Whereas fall apart is more of a gradual process, kind of slowly happening, and then eventually, as a result of things slowly happening for the worse, it falls apart. Well, what falls apart? Maybe your career falls apart. Maybe your health falls apart. I feel like I'm falling apart physically. That means maybe you're not in very good health. Your marriage could fall apart. Your friendships could fall apart. Your plans for your great vacation to wherever, to Greece, are falling apart for a number of different reasons. So we're not really focusing on the reasons here. We're focusing on this feeling of this crumbling as a result of something or things that have gone wrong. When your plans for your trip to Greece fall apart, maybe that's because there are some new restrictions, or maybe there's a visa issue, or maybe someone gets sick, or who knows what happens. Your plans fall apart. If your marriage falls apart, then it could be a result of many years of problems in your marriage, right? But it does emphasize this feeling of not being a breaking point necessarily, but this slow collapse, especially in the case of a marriage. Okay? Now, the other one we were going to look at here is it wears on him. So listen for this one.
One day he can walk out.
It's done.
Perfect. And that scares me to death. Look like it came together pretty good?
Oh, yeah.
I know he loves me more than anything in the world, but I know it wears on him.
Okay. He loves me more than anything in the world, but I know it wears on him. What wears on him? Well, her unhealthy lifestyle wears on him. The fact that she's addicted to eating and that she's extremely unhealthy as a result, and it seems to be causing problems in their marriage. And if something wears on you, this is again emphasizing this gradual, slow accumulation of negative things, right? After you spend maybe 5 minutes around you is great, but after an hour, it starts to wear on me. You know, one of those people who's, I don't know, too high energy or just can't stop making dumb jokes. Whatever happens to annoy you, over time, that person may start to wear on you in a social setting, right? What else could wear on you? Again, maybe you have a job for 10 years and, you know, in the first 10 years it's not bad, but gradually it just starts to make you feel tired and exhausted and depressed day after day. It's really starting to wear on me, doing something I don't enjoy every single day of the week in my little office cubicle. It's really starting to wear on me. Okay, so this is like a corrosive effect. Okay, so again, wearing on him could be the result of their marriage falling apart. Okay, let's keep going here.
Because our relationship is so strained. I miss my husband terribly bad. But when I get hungry, none of that matters. Food is my highest priority.
Food is my highest priority. Yikes.
And I have to have whatever I'm craving.
Again, this show is called My 600-Pound Life. It's on TLC. You can find clips of it on YouTube. It's, again, fascinating to watch.
Especially after a long day. I tend to get irritated waiting for it because all day long I've built it up. I want this. I really, really want this. But Chris is helping me.
She's definitely, it's a lot of carbs. We've got, it looks like a baked spaghetti or some kind of pasta, cheese on top, and then breadsticks.
Slow motion. I mean, I want to be able to eat. I'm so consumed with.
Okay, let's listen to that one. Listen to consumed here.
I mean, I want to be able to eat.
I want to be able to eat.
So consumed with, let me have it.
I'm consumed with, let me have it. Okay, let's talk about consumed. If you're consumed by something, and by is the right word to use after consumed, then it almost completely fills your mind and you can't think of anything else, right? I'm consumed by my work or by my obsession with, I don't know, some TV show, right? And it doesn't have to be a long-term thing. Maybe for several weeks, you're totally consumed with One Piece or something like that. You just want to watch that all day, every day, and nothing else. That's what you want to do. You could say you're consumed by it. If you start neglecting other things, it doesn't even have to be neglecting things you're supposed to do, but you're just not thinking about things. You're not balanced. You're totally focused on this. You can say that you are consumed by it. We often hear the phrase consumed by greed. Well, this is more of an attitude. You're so obsessed with money and getting more and having as much as you can that you don't consider the impact of what you're doing on the rest of the world. You're consumed by greed. That is a very common criticism that you hear of maybe people who are seen as greedy, right? Well, in this case, she's consumed by wanting to have dinner and wanting her husband to hurry up and finish so that she can have her dinner. She says it in an interesting way, in a way that we typically don't use it. Let's review that here. Let's review this.
In slow motion. I mean, I want to be able to eat. I'm so consumed with, let me have it.
Oh, right. She says consumed with. Consumed by is definitely more common. Consumed with, it is okay too. But by is definitely more common. And then she says consumed with, let me have it. So she's using the phrase to explain the thought of, I want it, let me have it, as what she's consumed with. She's consumed by that thought. Not as common as saying, I'm consumed by thoughts of hunger or consumed by my appetite, for example, I think would be more common. All right, let's keep going here.
And then when I finally get to it, Chris is not here. All it is me and that chicken and pasta. It is everything.
Wow, she seems very into it. So if something is everything, you hear this phrase a lot recently. It's everything to me. That could be because you're consumed by something. That could be. But if something is everything to you, it's a high priority. You really care about it. It doesn't actually have to consume your life in an unhealthy way, right? You could say, for example, my Lego hobby is everything to me. Well, that doesn't mean that I'm willing to sacrifice other parts of my life for my Lego hobby. What it means is it's very important to me. So I could say this phrase, it's everything. That is everything. This is everything to me, which is increasing in I would say, increasing in popularity. It's becoming more common, is not meant to be actually everything. It's not meant literally. It's more like saying is important to me, right? Now, I think in her case, she's crying when she says it. So it's even more extreme for her, I would say. She feels very strongly about it. But generally speaking, when we say it's everything to me, what we mean is it's very important to me. Okay? Let's rewatch that little part right there.
It is everything. It's like
Everything. And you often hear everything to me after it. To me.
a relationship.
It's a relationship.
I actually think she likes food too much. Something does need to change immediately. I'd be willing to do anything to get my wife back the way she was before.
Get my wife back. I would do anything to get my wife back.
My life has changed night and day entirely because of my...
Okay, last one. My life has changed night and day. This is a really useful one. My life has changed night and day. Let's rewatch that part here.
My life has changed night and day entirely because of my weight.
My life has changed night and day because of my weight. So if your life changes night and day, or if something changes night and day, or it is night and day, you're talking about high contrast between two things. And that could be weight loss. Wow, it's night and day how you look compared to 6 months ago. Very, very different, right? Or maybe you've been working on your English, practicing your English, working with maybe a teacher, and someone you talk to says, wow, you've improved so much. It's night and day. It's night and day. Instead of saying, wow, it's very different, it's night and day is a really common, very useful way to highlight contrast between something before and something after. Usually it's used for before and after, but you could be looking at two things side by side and say also it's night and day, right? Maybe you're looking at an original painting and then a copy of the painting. And to you, it's so obvious which one is the one done by a true master and which one is the copy. When I look at these two paintings side by side, I mean, it's night and day. That means it's so clear. The contrast between the two is so obvious that you don't need to tell me, right? It's very, very clear. Okay, so again, this is My 600-Pound Life. These reality shows, I think, offer a lot of interesting language that you can kind of pick out. I mean, we've just been looking at about 2 minutes of video, and we've picked out this many phrases that are also very, very common. So let me know if you have any questions about these. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And also, feel free to get a free breadstick. No, not a free breadstick. To get a free course, Natural English Conversations. That is in the links in the description.